I'm going to talk about something that's really important to you guys and was important to me too, but I forgot. So I have been getting some questions sort of sporadically. It's a theme that I've noticed kind of popping up, and I'm not gonna name any names. Some of the messages were over DM, and so they were private, and I didn't ask permission, so I'm not gonna call anybody out. I have been noticing that there's sort of this question about whether or not a person can be a witch, how they know if they have the power to be a witch. Some people are I don't know if I can believe in it, but I want to, and there's that side of it. But then other people are I believe in it and I love it and I've always loved it, but I just don't know if I'm special enough. I just don't know if I have any special abilities. And so I kind of wanted to tackle. I wanted to talk about both sides of that because I think that's the very beginning. And we do videos about witchcraft here. Some of them are more advanced, some of them are not as advanced. I don't really think we've got a leveling system, but hey, if you guys want to help me come up with one, we could do that. But I really want to talk about you really can't get started, right, until you know if you can get started. I made a video way back. It was my first video. I think it was my first video. It's a year ago. I'll link it if you want to watch it. It's not great. My hair is red, so that part was fun. I talked about some of the reasons that people aren't witches, and I've gone back and forth on that video a couple of times. I've done a couple of newer versions that kind of include warnings and possible dangers and more ethics-based videos around witchcraft, but I haven't really talked about I guess, and maybe not enough, I don't know. I haven't really talked about what it takes to be a witch, how you know if you can do it. And I'm not trying to be melodramatic, but I guess it really helps me when you guys ask questions, because I have a belief system that's established for me, and I'm always learning and growing and stuff, but my belief system it's pretty well established. I have been practicing for a third of my life minimum. So I guess for me, some of the things I don't necessarily realize I need to say or talk about. So that's what we're doing today. We're gonna rewind. I'm gonna talk about something that's really important to you guys and was important to me too, but I forgot. It occurred to me that could be a really big barrier for some of you guys. It could be the biggest barrier. So a little background. I know you guys were kind of asking me to talk about my story, how I became a witch and coming out as a witch and all of that stuff, in my journey and who I am, and I will do that at some point if you still want it. But just briefly, I was raised in a religious environment. It wasn't your typical religious environment, which I'm kind of thankful for, because my parents believed in the Christian God. They believed in a lot of the values and things from the Bible, but they were also kind of charismatic. They were a little extra, and they believed in home churches and challenging the establishment of religion, and they believed in praying in tongues and that everyone's a prophet and getting words from God and acting on them. And it was a very they were spirit filled, right? Okay, so I get the feeling probably a lot of you know what I'm talking about. So I just wanted to give you that background. My parents always encouraged a thick spiritual awareness, and so from a very young age I was aware of things that were going on. I was aware of entities in the shadows. I was aware of demons that lived in my house. I was aware of the power in things. I just didn't understand why I was aware of so much of it, because Christianity doesn't teach about elements and the universal energy and other gods. And also the big thing with Christianity was that all of the power comes from this central source, the God, people can just kind of like be a conduit. And I have a problem with that. So, okay, we're not going to talk about religion, but a lot of people have been asking me like how they can believe in it, like when other people are telling them that it's bad, or when it like goes against their religion. And I just need to put this somewhere where you can hear it, and I hope that it helps. If your personal spiritual beliefs do not allow for you to be a witch, then I am not saying that you should overturn your life and walk away from your beliefs. I think that there are different ways to approach it. I think it's possible that you could do some soul searching, you could do some praying, and find out like what is best for you. If you can meld your personal beliefs with witchcraft, it doesn't have to look like somebody else's. Anything that I do, you could do under the umbrella of your own like spiritual, like your own spiritual umbrella. You could also say, I don't believe in this, this, and this that you do. I wouldn't do that. It goes against my morals, it goes against my beliefs, but I like this, and you can adopt it. I am a firm believer in the power of multiple people that are gathered, and that's what church services really are. I am a firm believer in speaking spells or writing them using words, and that is really what prayer is. You know, it's coming from different directions, using different methods, but kind of ending up in the same place. And I think at the end of the day, what matters is that we're all humans, and we're all like here together. I think at the end of the day, what really matters is what you can find peace in. Okay, so if you are one of those people that is struggling to understand how your religion and practicing witchcraft can fit together, then it is really very, very personal, and it isn't something that somebody can teach you, in my experience. I definitely started there, and I spent years like morphing my beliefs, and it really is a lot about soul searching. And it's also a lot about understanding that where you start is not where you're gonna end up. You might adopt a certain type of practice, like how I started with elemental magic pretty heavily. I have never completely strayed from elemental magic, but it isn't the focus of everything that I do anymore. That's not totally true. For me, it used to be fully like energy manipulation. Like, we didn't do rituals, we didn't do voodoo, we didn't do like candle magic, some of the most basic things. We always cast circles with energy. We always summoned the elements with energy. Everything was energy based. And so I had to be basically like an energetic acrobat. I had to be able to juggle immense amounts of energy and wield immense amounts of energy all the time, because I wasn't using other tools to help me with any of that. You know, we weren't using crystals. Man, what were we doing? Anyway, we were young. I was young. Now I have things that I can use to help me like fine tune what I want. And sometimes there are quicker, more effective ways to get to something than spending time summoning the winds to make it so, right? That's just an example. The point is that you're gonna start somewhere, and you're gonna keep learning, and you don't know where you're gonna end up either, and you're not gonna end up the same place. Somebody else is gonna end up. So as much as I want to say, like, if just go for it, like, it really is up to you to decide what you can have peace with in your heart. Because it's just not to plant doubt, but like, if you are like, screw religion and screw my beliefs, and then you like dive into witchcraft for a couple of years, and then it isn't right for you, and you start to feel kind of empty and gross, and you're like, I don't know, this isn't right. Like, you could end up really like tipping your soul over a little bit, because we create like spiritual beliefs and religions to help ground us and to help make sense of like everything in the universe. Like, humans do this so that we have something to explain the vastness and the infinite nature of the universe and of magic. Your psychology, your heart and your mind need to be on track. So I highly suggest always doing some soul searching first. Maybe don't talk to other people that you know, go to church with or whatever. Like, maybe this isn't about what your parents think. It's not, at the end of the day, it's not about what your parents think. It's not about what your girlfriend thinks. It's not about what your boyfriend thinks or your best friends or your group of like prayer buddies. Like, it doesn't matter really. Like, it is important to be able to trust people who can like support you and give you advice, but they're not making the decision for your lives. At the end of the day, they're not living your life. They're not the ones who are responsible for you living your best life, and you're the only one who can make decisions for you. So do some soul searching and dip your toes in if it feels right. Go for something that you are drawn to. Go to the type of practice that you can't stop thinking about. You know, if candle magic just like gets you, you know, right here, and you just feel like there's something about candle magic and you just need to like get in there with it, then start there. Start slowly. Read, do a bunch of reading, learn, you know, or don't read. Buy a candle, see what you can do. You don't have to make this grandiose decision. I know it feels like it. I know it can feel like everything that you like know and believe is like potentially being turned upside down, and like what happens to you in the future. Like, what if you're betraying your beliefs? Like, I get it. I understand. At least from my perspective, from my point of view, nobody can blame you for seeking knowledge. And if you decide that magic is not for you, you don't have to do it. You don't have to do anything. But if you want to avoid living your life, you know, like looking back and being like, why didn't I? Then yeah, explore it. If you're being drawn to it, explore it. But it's really up to like you to be at peace with that. And nobody can make that decision for you. Nobody. I don't care who they are. Nobody can. Okay, now we're gonna talk about, this has been a minute. This video is kind of long. Sorry. I'll put timestamps for each topic. Maybe I won't. Okay, so how do you know you've got power? How do you know you've got the special something that makes you a witch? I'm waiting. If you have anything for me, you can tell me right now. You could leave it in the comments for the magical algorithm. Okay. I've waffled with this a little bit. My whole life, I've struggled with it just a little bit because of insecurity. It is hard sometimes to look in the mirror and be like, I'm magical, right? It's hard when you're an artist to accept your own work. It is hard if you're a perfectionist to look at something that is not perfect, and it will never be because we are human, and be like, yep, it's done. If you are drawn to practice magic, you have what it takes. There is something about it that you are drawn to. It is calling you. That's it. You have to practice. I mean, some people are naturally like I do think everybody has gifts. Like, I do think that everybody is unique and has certain things that they're good at, and that's why I like to talk about a lot of different types of magic. Some people are going to be like elementally based, and some people are going to be, you know, based in one element. You're going to have like empaths and different types of psychics, and like intuitives, and you know, people who specifically like work with dark energy or chaos magic. Like, there's so much that comes from who you are, like as an individual. But it doesn't make you more or less capable than somebody else. Everybody has to practice. Everybody has to start somewhere and learn and like water their little plant and like give it time to grow. Like, magic doesn't happen overnight. I mean, sometimes it does. If it does, like, that's great. But I guarantee you, if you're one of those people for whom magic happens overnight, like you're just gonna go looking for something bigger. So you're still gonna keep going. And I know that it can be hard. Like self-doubt really sucks. It really does. And I can tell you, after 12 years of actively practicing witchcraft, actively, mind you, there was dabbling when I was a child, but don't tell my mother. I can honestly tell you that for some people that self-doubt will never go away. I know from personal experience, your psychology, your insecurities, and the limitations of your brain they'll be there. There are things you can do, obviously, to help train yourself. Like you can learn strategies, you can go to therapy, you can take your meds. Like, anyway, that was a tangent, but that's not what controls your magic. So doubting yourself is really more of like a hindrance to you physically. It's not a hindrance to you like energetically. How do I explain that? Your gifts, you have them. Your talents, you have them. Skills are learned. Skills are practiced. You start with a gift or a talent or an interest. You start with the magic that is calling to you, whatever it is that is singing to you. You go toward that and then you practice. That's where skill comes from. So if nothing happens, or you think nothing is happening, you keep trying. You try something else. You give it some time. You calm down. You don't blame yourself, and you keep trying. And if you need help, reach out. There are so many of us, but there is nothing that makes one person inherently more magical than somebody else. There isn't. When a person is drawn or naturally talented in a certain way, it's just a different talent. And maybe they've been encouraging it for longer, and you don't know that because you don't know their life. You don't know like what they go through. Some people, even if they feel the calling their whole life, don't know how to open themselves up to it. So what you perceive as like maybe a lack of talent or a lack of abilities is really just you've gotta dig it out. You know, you gotta like dig yourself out. You gotta crawl out. And then you gotta like dust yourself off, and then you gotta like work those muscles and get them going and get them going and keep going. I don't know what's happening. I hope that answered your question. You out there who has always loved witchcraft but is not sure you have a magical bone in your body. I guarantee that you do. Everybody does. It's a shame that everybody doesn't understand that about themselves and like utilize their abilities, but you have that opportunity, and it's really exciting. It's really exciting to realize that you can do something that other people won't even try, and to think how your life can be anything that you want it to be. That's astonishing, and you're the one with the power to do that. So if you're waiting until you've got all of the faith in yourself, then you could be waiting for a while. But if you practice and keep practicing and build your confidence, you'll probably end up somewhere that you don't expect, and it'll probably be really good. That's just my prediction. But you don't have to take my word for it. Just give me a shout out down below if you like love LeVar Burton and Reading Rainbow. Okay, I'm gonna stop chatting at you guys. If you want to suggest video topics and get special handmade gifts and have access to me on Skype and Discord and things, check out my Patreon, please, because my patrons get priority. So pretty much whatever they want me to do, like, I'm gonna do it. So let me know in the comments what kind of magic has been calling you, and what are you gonna do about it? That's what I wanna know. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe, because we could all use more friends. Okay, have a blessed and beautiful day.